How's it going, guys?
Welcome to the Unfazed Review Podcast.
So it's a weird time.
Very strange time right now, guys. Today, as of this recording, is November 4th. So as you know, in the United States, we're in the middle of a very, very large presidential election. And, everyone's just kind of waiting on pins and needles, seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
And they kind of gave us an early warning that this is going to be a weird election, more than usual, in terms of it's going to take longer to find out the final outcome. So everyone's just kind of waiting on pins and needles, seeing what's going to happen. But we're trying to remain unfazed and just chill and get some content out to you guys. And, be a little shining light amidst all the craziness.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like having a Super Bowl go on for way too long.
Yeah.
Like for fans who really care, you have you're watching it. You want. Usually that stuff is so instantaneous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one sit down, and then it's one bout of sort of stress and intensity, and then it's all over, and then you kind of forget about it the next day, whatever the result may be. But because this is sustaining for so long, it's just it's fucking with a lot of people. It totally is.
Yeah, and it has that feeling of you may not know for another 2-3 days. We don't know.
Yeah.
And it's they're kind of, it's odd because I don't remember that ever in my lifetime. In the past, I think the longest we had to wait, at least in the last election, was we knew the next morning.
Yeah.
And we're talking early. We're talking 2 a.m. And it was we had a very clear answer, to the question of who was president. But this time it's hurry up and wait.
Yeah, very odd, very odd.
It's a weird time, but
and regardless of outcome, I think the aftermath is going to be weird too. Yeah. I think it's not going to. Once the call is made, it's not going to end there. It's going to keep being weird. I think
it's going to get dragged on. People are going to freak out on both sides, no matter what the outcome is. All I can say to you guys, especially, this is more so for the folks in the U.S., but I guess this applies to everyone. No matter what happens, we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. We've gone through weird stuff in the past. We've already made it this far into 2020. It's chill the fuck out. Things are going to be okay. You don't have to go crazy and grab all the toilet paper. You don't have to go and get a bunch of guns. And you don't have to go riot. No matter what your circle tells you to do, you don't have to do that shit. Okay? There's enough for everyone. There's enough supplies for everyone. Things are going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And like I said, no matter which side of the fence you're on and no matter what the outcome is, it's going to be okay. We're still going to have Netflix. We're still going to have Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. We're still going to have the internet. And people like to catastrophize things. I think it gives them some sort of excitement. I think people like having something to hate on and something to fight against. And, whether that's your enemy being Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, or your enemy is Donald Trump and Mike Pence, whatever that means for you, just chill out.
Yeah,
just chill out. Because it's people like to have something to fight against, and it's really not necessary, man. Things are good, and things are still going to continue to be good no matter what. A big part is just your outlook on things. Yeah,
I remember in the first sort of wave of coronavirus when it was first really a big thing.
Yeah,
I went to Old Town Scottsdale, the clubs, with a friend. We just wanted to see what it was like because that was when it was still really novel, and we weren't sure what the atmosphere was going to be like, and there weren't things weren't shutting down yet. It was big, but no one had taken action yet, so they were there was still a lot of people at the clubs.
That was probably mid-March.
Yeah, sounds right. And it was really interesting because there were these two off-duty cops, and one of the guys, he was just partying, and we asked him hey, what do you think about the coronavirus? And
off-duty cop.
Yeah, off-duty cop. He made a really good point. He was dude, the way people are reacting to this, taking precautions and going crazy are two completely different things, right?
Yeah.
And he said the way people are reacting to this makes me worried about, how people would react if shit were actually to go down.
Yeah.
And that totally, when he first said that, I was just this is a serious thing, so, I didn't totally take his side, but no, I know exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
People are really stressing out. People are already, thinking it's the end of the world. Remember when everyone was buying toilet paper? What the fuck was that?
They're starting to do that again.
It was just weird. Yeah.
My thing with that is, there's enough for everyone if you just take what you need.
It seems such a random thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's fucking hilarious. Yeah. The whole world goes to crap, and everyone's just worried about being able to wipe their asses comfortably. That's their one. Oh, I gotta be able to wipe my ass.
Yeah. You got people in other countries who are I just use my hand.
I know. I have a what do they call them in France? Bidets or whatever.
Yeah.
But I totally get what he was saying now.
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot. How we as Americans and just as people who live in like well-established civil countries have had it so good for so long that we can't fathom what like actual hardships are really like.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, to be frank.
I mean, you stack up here against like places in the Middle East, and stuff, or like really poverty parts of India and stuff. You're kind of like, oh, we got it pretty fucking good.
Yeah. And that being said, like we're kind of pussies. Like I know if shit really hit the fan,
speak for yourself.
if shit really hit the fan, I don't know how I would react. Like
it would be tough.
You want to say like you could kind of handle yourself, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing that actually made me really think about that was it sounds stupid, but a while back they did a flyover with the military jets.
Yeah,
there's an Air Force base near us, Luke Air Force Base. And they did like, I forget what it was. I think it was for, at the beginning of COVID, like in like remembrance of people who had lost their lives.
Yeah.
And it was, so it might have been like,
I remember that.
Yeah, I forget the exact month, but pretty early on in the whole, pandemic. And they did a flyover of something like 16 jets or something like that. It was like a lot. And I remember they flew over, and I didn't know what the occasion was. I found out later on the news that night. I'm like, oh, that was in remembrance of people who lost their lives. So I just heard this roar outside.
Yeah.
And I was with my parents, and my mom was there, and I went outside, and she didn't know about this either. And they flew over low. I mean, we're talking like you could see all the details on the jets. And they flew over.
Cool, yeah.
And my mom went out, and she's like, what the hell? And I played a prank on her. I looked around the corner, I'm like, Mom, there's a mushroom cloud. And she was like, oh my God. And she really, I feel bad because she like really panicked. Yeah. And then she's like, oh dear God. And then I'm like, Mom, I'm kidding. And she's like, you jackass. Like she was so mad. She's like, you jackass. And it was funny for me in the moment, but in retrospect, kind of mean. But
I had a similar thing with my mom.
Did you?
Way back in high school, I was up late at night watching YouTube on the TV.
Yeah.
And it was, at that time, it was still kind of like a newer thing to watch apps on your TV.
Yeah.
Right? So it was like really late. It was like 1 a.m. And I was watching, I don't know why I was watching it, but I was watching like fake broadcasts of like nukes and stuff like that. Nice. Right? So there was like the everyone go to the nearest shelter.
Terrifying. Yeah.
And my mom walked out in a nightgown. She was like, is this real? And she was like so scared. I was like, no, it's not bad. I felt so bad. I didn't mean for her to see it. But
That's funny, dude.
I woke her up to that shit. And she like walked out thinking we were gonna get bombed.
Everybody get in the bathtub, but put a mattress over you. But anyway, I guess the moral of the story is I'm a jerk. No. But aside from that, that joke, joking aside, made me think. I'm like, wait, what if we did get bombed?
Yeah.
Like, what if North Korea or fill in the blank shot off missiles at us? Okay, people freak out about an election. People freak out about the pandemic and go and, rape the shelves of the store and, like, freak out and get hostile with each other. Like you said, what would happen if we got fucking bombed?
Yeah.
What would happen if we ran out of water? What would you know what I mean? Like, what if there was a massive, like, shutdown of all the grids and, like, there was no power for a couple months?
Yeah.
People would fucking tear each other apart.
Yeah.
You'd have the good old boys with their guns, kind of like almost taking place of the police, I feel like. And then you would have a lot of people who didn't know what they were doing, like gathering weapons and getting hostile. You'd have a lot of robbery. You'd have it would get bad. I think it would get really bad.
Yeah, I think it would.
And I think the best move would be not to panic and to secure your home as best you could. I think a really smart thing to do would be to know like a good way out. It'd be cool to like know that like, oh, I could, head up north and have a safe sanctuary, know. But the only tricky part of that is the highways would be so congested. Everyone would be trying to get out. Let's say here, for example, everyone would try to head up north, and it's like there would be gridlock.
Right.
You'd be out of luck. I had a buddy who lived in New Orleans during Hurricane Katrina back in the day, and he was a server at the time. And he told me that was like absolute chaos. He was like literally police coming down with like megaphones and being like, everyone has to get out now. Like you have like 10 hours. Like it was like, you gotta go. Everyone has to get mandatory evacuation. And he said the crazy part about that was gathering all their stuff that they could. It was like him and his brother. They got all their stuff together, and they said all the highways you could only take out. Like the ones that normally head into the city were reversed. So every possible road was to get everyone out. And
that makes sense, yeah.
And he said it was crazy. He said there was like, they even picked someone up who had run out of gas. and like the person was like, "Fuck, I don't know what to do," and they were like, "Get with us," and like they picked up a stranger to come with them, and like they got the hell out of town.
It's intense, man.
But like he said that was like the most crazy shit he'd ever seen in terms of like people being like fucking panic mode.
Yeah, big catastrophic events like that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So that would be one thing, but I mean, if we were to try to get out of here and head up north, you'd almost have to have a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get a motorcycle and get property far away
like
from
the
the
cool
city.
guy in like 2012, where it's like when there's gridlock, he's like going in between him on the motorcycle. I want to be that guy. Yeah.
Something like that might be cool.
Yeah.
But the scariest thing would be for people with families.
Yeah.
Or people that you couldn't leave behind. You know.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
And it's like that would be the tricky. It'd be very easy for I feel like a single dude to get out.
Yeah.
But like if you're looking at like having kids or elderly parents or fill in the blank or pets, like that's gonna be difficult.
I do know everyone always says like adrenaline kicks in and you just kind of do it, like your body just goes into action and you don't really have a chance to think, and all the tragedy and the heartache stuff comes afterwards, after all the action.
I can see that.
And honestly, I mean, I hope that'll be the case for me too. Yeah. It's kind of nice to just like not think and then just fucking go.
Kind of go.
Probably we would
go into animal instincts.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time we really had to like kind of sadly think of that as a possibility.
Yeah.
Like it's like I hope it's not true. I hope everyone chills out. I hope everything's okay. But in the back of your mind, you're kind of like, if the shit hits the fan and people flip, based on their past behavior this year, it wouldn't be pretty.
Yeah, I really wouldn't.
No. Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
And even the shit we've been seeing like over the summer, how, there's been the BLM riots and there's been like counter riots, and a lot of people like bring in guns because they want shit to go down.
Yeah.
Like it's still like that's serious danger, obviously, but it's still like just like dumb, weak behavior.
Yeah. To
like want an excuse to shoot someone.
Yeah.
Like it's very.
And what's interesting about it all is like, let's say when COVID hit, and then when the George Floyd stuff happened, let's imagine if people didn't do all the crazy rioting and let's say they did all their protesting online. Let's say they did that. Let's say they got their message out just via social media, right? Imagine if there were no in-person riots. Imagine if none of that happened. How much more chill things would be. And imagine the same thing with fill in the blank, Breonna Taylor, anyone like that. If there was a way to do that without people congregating and without other people coming in and violence ensuing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not undermining the seriousness of the messages those people were trying to get out there. I'm not saying that, but the violence that comes along with it fucking sucks, and that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and the other thing is that those became as big and as violent as they were, I think, because of COVID. Like, a lot of people lost their jobs because of it. A lot of people were aimless. Yeah. And so, like, when this thing came about, they were all like, oh, let's just fuck shit up. Because, like, they had nothing else left to do.
Yeah.
So that was 100%. I totally think that movement became as, like, bulbous as it was. Like, it started with something legit, and then it really became kind of, like, it became baseless in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because all these, like, idiots were coming in and just fucking shit up because they had nothing else to do anymore because of COVID.
They lost sight of the actual thing that they were talking about originally and just wanted to just wreak havoc. Yeah. And it does seem kind of convenient, doesn't it? It's like, let me blow the conspiracy theorist whistle for a second, but, like, think about it. It's like COVID hits. Yeah. The economy goes to shit. That was doing great. Like, the economy was in a really good place. And then, boom, shit hit the fan. Economic impact. All these people out of work. Yeah. And suddenly everyone's out of work and has masks. Great people to go riot because you don't know who they are, and they don't have to go to work the next day. So a lot of people are available. It seemed, it seemed kind of convenient.
It got very dystopian, like very quickly. Everyone was wearing masks. Remember there was like quarantine for a while. I mean, I remember when you go on the 101, those like ADOT messages said like. Be in bed by 8 o'clock. Like stay away from others. Like we were in fucking 1984.
Exactly.
Like 100%.
It was
weird.
creepy. Yeah. And I remember the first few times going out, and it was like, I want to say maybe like the first 3 days into that whole time when they were like we're locking stuff down, curfew, and then my buddy Alan and I were like, we want to go hang out and go do something. Like obviously we'll wear our masks and be conscious of the people around us, but we went to the Indian reservation. And there was a casino there, popping, tons of people. Obviously, they had social distancing measures in place. There were gaps between the machines and, plastic over the tables and stuff. But we went there and we were like, well, we're on a sovereign nation technically, so the curfew doesn't apply to us.
Yeah.
So we stayed out until like midnight,
Damn.
And no issues. I was like, well, technically they're not going to say anything because they're on a sovereign nation.
Yeah, they have their own police and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So we did that.
I didn't even think about that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so we did
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, we did that during the... And we did not get sick, neither of us.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, yeah.
Careful about the masks.
Yeah. Yeah, I am, I don't know. I'm definitely ready for this stuff to be over. I think the problem will arise when people stop thinking it's odd and want to see change. So, like, once it becomes the norm, then there's a fucking issue.
Yeah.
Like, I still yearn for a place when we don't have to wear masks, when things are back to normal.
Totally.
When we can all go to a movie theater. Of course, we all want that, but, like, I think the important thing is we got to keep still wanting that. It's going to get weird when this becomes normal. And that's what I'm really afraid of. I don't want to wake up one day and just kind of forget, like, this is weird.
And I don't like how right off the bat they were like, the new normal, this is it forever. I'm like,
no, fuck that.
No, this is temporary, you know? And it's like, just keep being careful, do your stuff, but I do think there's an element to it that they're overhyping.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that COVID can't kill you, 100%. You can catch it and you can die, especially if you know, conditions and stuff that make you more compromised. 100%, it's a dangerous thing. But I think the media is really amping it up. And they're trying to instill a lot of fear in people. Yeah,
I don't want this to be the new normal. It's awful. Why? It's like, it's one little, everything we've built up over the years, one little virus, like, just destroys it all and changes fucking everything. I think we can persevere a little more than that, you know?
I think so. It just shows how fragile and how weak-minded people are.
Yeah.
Because it's like they believe anything the fucking news tells them. Like, they believe everything. If the news tells you to jump, they've all fucking jump. And it's like, and then they take it a step further and say, oh, that means jump off a bridge. And they get like, people are such fucking idiots.
We were saying, like, you can take the positive from it. We were saying earlier it would be kind of cool if America adopted, like, Japan's use of masks, where, like, if you get sick, you just put one on, and you know, we have all these fashionable masks now that are being made, so it'd be kind of cool if that became, like, a normal thing over here. Yeah. But,
like,
again,
during flu season.
Yeah, right, yeah. But the thing is, like, I don't want it to be mandatory. It should be, like, a customary thing where if you know you're sick, all right, I'll put on the mask. Yeah. That's cool. I think we should do that. I don't know why we didn't do that before. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. But I think that's about it.
And I've heard people say that, like, in Japan, essentially, it's like, you know, I don't think it's legally required. It's just if you don't, culturally, you're being an asshole. Yeah. So it's like if you're not wearing the mask, you're being rude. Yeah. And so it's almost a thing where it's like...
And that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like, I think if we had something like that in place... And who knows, maybe that will be. Maybe that will be the norm. Eventually, flu season rolls around and people just, hey, I'm time to put on the mask, you know? But I don't think it should be like, you know, in every single fucking public place. Right. And like, Rob Schneider had a great bit about it. I saw him a couple months ago, and he was talking about like, oh, it's amazing how... You know, when you're walking around a restaurant, COVID's going to get you. But when you sit at a table, you're safe. And it, like, just goes right over your head. Yeah, or, like, on an airplane, it's like, it's crazy how COVID only hits you in the middle row.
Right.
But on the end, so it's like there's a lot of pseudoscience to it, and there's a lot of stuff that people are just enforcing just to cover their asses and keep their businesses open. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that is totally bullshit. And, like, the science, you know, funny how that works. It's funny how you can catch COVID on a roller coaster. Yeah. You know? It's like...
Well, you can... There was a lot of stuff that was being said just to try and, like, keep us calm, I guess. That, like, wasn't based in fact at all. Cause like, a lot of the stuff Fauci said kept changing. Yeah. At one point, he was like, masks don't work at all because there weren't enough masks being made. Yeah. And, like, so he just wanted to, like, let, mask production go up. So he was like, the masks don't work. Oh, wow. So people stopped wearing them, and then more masks were made, and they're like, actually, they do work, put these on. Wow. It's like really just like fucking...
That's wild, man.
Yeah. So a lot of it is like just based in nothing. It's just like what they...
I can't tell, is he like... Does Trump like him anymore, or do they not
I don't think so.
That's interesting. Yeah, Fauci, and then he had a whole thing about saying as long as you're maintaining the 6-foot distance and stuff, he's like, go out. He's like, go to restaurants. He's like, as long as you're being conscious of the people around you and washing your hands and not coughing all over the place and doing the masks, you know, when it's necessary. It's like, he's like, people will be fine. And he had a good way of like, talking about it logically and not making people panic. Yeah. You know? But then the news, like, I feel like just amps people up, dude. It's like whether it's a COVID-related thing, whether it's a race-related thing, whether it's a, you know, police issue, anything like that, they fucking just shake the cage, man. Like, the media just, they're the biggest instigator of issues, I think, for this entire year.
Totally. I mean, every time you turn on the news, it's just like stats on, like, deaths. Yeah. Like, today there have been 5 new cases and 2 new deaths.
It just stresses
like, all right,
out. Yeah. I think the best thing you can do is so you're not totally living under a rock. Maybe give yourself like 15 minutes in the morning, go through your Google News, whatever, and that's probably about it. I mean, because you get to a certain point where if you're watching the news all the time, that just like fucking winds you up, and it's like it's nothing but stress. And it got that like CNN and shit. It's like you've got that constant title going across the bottom, like keeping you freaked out and keeping you amped up on caffeine.
The thing is, I think people go too far with these things. They don't know when to like. You take the precautions and then you let it go. There's a point at which you got to let it go. Yeah. Like we take the precautions. Like we both wear the mask. We use hand sanitizer like all the time.
All the time.
And that's it. Like that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna worry about it from there.
We're not getting crazy close to people. Yeah. It's like we know that we're not sick. It's like,
I'm still like teaching lessons at people's houses and stuff. But like I wear the mask. There are a couple of guys who like they don't wear it. But like what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna like tell them to wear it in their home.
Yeah.
But I keep mine on. And one guy was like he was kind of egging me on to take it off. He was like, you don't gotta wear the mask, dude. It's all good. And I was like, okay, thank you, though. Good. But it's like I kept it on, and I used hand sanitizer as soon as I like leave that place, and that's it. Like I'm not gonna worry about it from there.
All the videos we did last month, all the bigger ones that had a lot of actors in it, we took everyone's temperature beforehand. We were super careful. We had people sign releases and agreements saying that they hadn't felt sick or anything like that, or done any travel out of country or anything crazy like that. So we tried to, as much as we can.
And we all had masks. In the beginning, it's hard with the actors. Because, like, when you're in, like, you're in a shot, you're out of a shot, you're in a shot, it's annoying to, like, mask off.
Yeah.
But, the crew all had masks on.
Yeah.
The cast took theirs off eventually, which made sense. But the crew kept their masks on. Everyone congregated with masks. And that's really the most important part, because when you first meet up at the set, that's when everyone's together.
Yeah.
And everyone had masks on then, so that was important. But
we did as much as we could for precautions. Yeah. It's tough to do, but little things, even like the temperature check, I think we tried to do our part.
Yeah. And Felipe's was good. No one got sick. That's been well beyond 2 weeks from shoot date, so we're all good. And I'm sure we're fine with the Halloween.
We're fine.
Yeah.
We were pretty careful. Yeah, that was good. But that's a lot of it is blown out of proportion, I think, and a lot of it's just to keep people scared.
Yeah, and it's sad because it works on people. It doesn't work on us at all. Like we're very unfazed.
As long as we're doing the common sense stuff, like you said, the stuff we're already doing, like the basic, entry level stuff. It's like I'm not too worried about it.
I'm not gonna let it destroy my life.
No, and there's some people that are freaking out. Like I haven't been out to do anything in 4 months, and I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm enjoying online school. I've had like a love-hate relationship with it because obviously I'm learning way less. I'm learning like zero. I'm learning fucking nothing. Yeah. But my grades are good.
It's good.
And I hate being in class. I don't think I have like social anxiety, but I hate being in it's just an uncomfortable setting when you're in
chore to get there.
Yeah. And like when you're in this like this I don't know, this area with like 30 people and they're all just sitting silently for like an hour.
It's weird.
I can't do that. Like in a movie theater, it's fine because it's dark and you're watching something. But when it's like this fairly quiet room with this awkward professor, and you're all just like sitting there, like I fucking hate it. I get so fidgety and stuff.
Yeah.
So now, like I don't even turn my webcam on for class anymore. Good. So I'm just like laying in bed, fucking like playing video games and jerking off, and the class is like kind of back there.
Well, that's your major. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that's been actually really nice.
There are benefits. I think there's. I think there's a whole silver lining to it based on your outlook on life.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's like I think there's you can definitely have good times during the pandemic. It just kind of depends on still being smart, but looking at the glass as half full.
Right. I will say though, I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast. I know we've just talked about it in general, but I think we've talked about it on a podcast. I'm not sure.
Bring it up.
But obviously, we have a lot more time at home.
Yeah.
And initially, I was like, I'm going to get a lot of creative stuff done with this time.
Yeah.
And then you just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one thing about having lack of structure.
Yeah, lack of structure for sure. And I think lack of just interaction with the world.
Yeah.
Because when you're at home all day, there's nothing stimulating your brain. You don't have any ideas.
No.
Like when we get our good ideas, it's when we're out at the mall walking or something and commenting on things. Yeah. And I think, less interaction with people and less structure really doesn't let the creativity flow. I remember some of the times I've had my best ideas, I had like a full-time job, or I was in high school or something. Like I had a lot going on.
Same.
And in between those things, like there are these sparks, because I think, again, you're interacting with more.
Yeah.
But now that we're like all just at home and everything's online, we see the same 3 rooms a day or whatever. It's like there's just nothing happening.
I notice my days go by a whole heck of a lot quicker when I don't have something to work on. Like if we're not working on something, it's like my day can just evaporate.
Yeah.
Like it'll just like it's like I'll sleep in late. It's like because I stay up late the night before, so it's like always that vicious cycle. And it's like, I'm a night owl to begin with. So it's like, then you wake up at like 11, and then you get up and you're like, time for lunch. And then you go and do like one thing, and next thing you know, I'm like, it's 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
It's like the days, I mean, maybe I'm just lazy and slow.
And, I mean, you don't need anything crazy for stimulation. I remember like for Polybius, we sat down and like wrote the vast majority of that in one night.
Oh yeah.
And
we wrote that in like an hour and a half.
Yeah. And what was nice for me is that earlier that day, I had watched the first like half hour of The Goonies on TV. I caught it on TV, and then we met up and watched Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Yeah,
and then we went home and we wrote Polybius. And so I had all of this stuff to like spill onto the page.
Yeah,
and that's all you need. Yeah.
And you really sometimes people don't think about the importance of like just getting out and like something simple like that, like going to the movies.
Yeah,
or like little something in between, going to get food. Like getting out.
Yeah.
Like, that's so important.
It really is.
So important.
Is.
And we are social creatures. I mean, like, no matter... And I know there's a lot of people that are like, no, fuck people. I love being at home by myself. And it's like, yeah, we all like that to a certain extent. But, like, deep down we're social creatures, right? Like, you still need... Most people need and thrive off a little bit of interaction. It doesn't have to be a lot. But if you're around people who you jive with, especially creatively, it's, like, super important.
Yeah. Or even just, like, general physical... like activity. I get a lot of good ideas when I'm running. Yeah. I'll just be like, I don't know. For some reason, when you're just like jogging and listening to music and like ideas are flowing because you have nothing else to do. Yeah. Like running, I love running because I mean I enjoy the activity. I think it's kind of therapeutic, but also it forces you to think because like what are you going to do? When you're running? I mean, there's
do you run with music or no?
Yeah, but it doesn't have words. I run with like soundtracks and shit.
Okay.
So like, there's no words to cling on to.
Makes sense.
And there's like they have the news on at the gym, but half the time I don't even run at the gym. And even if I do, I turn it off on the screen. Yeah. So I'm running. I usually have like music, and then otherwise there's just nothing to do. So my mind starts going places, and I start getting ideas. They do say it's like a cyclical thing. So when your body's more active, your mind is more active. Yep. I do think there's something to that. So there's always we just gotta keep moving. We just gotta keep
Yeah, I know it's tempting sometimes, especially if you're out of work, to just want to veg out and play video games and jerk off and chill. And for a few days, that's cool. Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, like there's definitely a place for that. But
there's a place for it. Don't burn yourself out, but at the same time, don't lock yourself in a cocoon and want to kill yourself. It's like you got to. Sometimes it's good to force yourself to get out. Like even if you don't feel like it, there's been a lot of times where I'm like, I don't feel like it, but I know I'm gonna thank myself later. Yeah. Whether that be going to work out, whether it be going to work on something with you, or even just hang out with somebody you haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, every time I've ever forced myself to do that, I was grateful. I did. Yeah. So
that's the key. So we're gonna go work out right now. maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow.
But I mean, I guess what we're saying is like amidst all this craziness, you have to keep some semblance of like your day-to-day structured life moving on. And I know like all of our lives have been upended in some way. That's why all those riots broke out and stuff, because people just didn't know what to do. So they started fucking breaking shit and stealing shit, which is kind of sad. But
caveman.
Yeah, right. Yeah, really. But
and women,
you gotta remain unfazed and just fucking cut through all of it.
You have to, yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like the sun still rises. It's like it's gonna be a new day tomorrow, and like I feel like we're all really responsible for the way things are gonna unfold. It's like we don't have to freak out. Yeah. The media may tell you, it's time to freak out and go panic mode. You don't have to. Yeah. Like you're in control of your own emotions. Like you're not a fucking pawn to them.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, you gotta remember, like I forget this too. The news always presents itself, and not even like I don't even mean like TV news. I mean like even Twitter and everything that we get our news of the world in general from these days. It presents itself as like your friend that's like looking after you and like keeping you up to date, But it's not.
Yeah.
It's they want numbers too. They just want clicks. They want views like anyone else.
Yeah.
And so they're always gonna sort of blow shit out of proportion to get that. So don't totally sink your teeth into what they say.
Yeah. And the more enticing and panicky it is, the more likely you are to click on it, or so they think. Yeah. And basically, they're trolling us all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally.
There's an element to it that's truth, obviously, but there's also a whole lot of dishonest news outlets out there, and there's a lot of lack of integrity in journalism these days, sadly. Yeah. So take it all with a grain of salt, and get your news from a variety of sources, and exercise some critical thinking, and don't let them spoon feed stuff to you, and let them control you.
Yep.
Yeah. What else? Want to move on to some other topics?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
let's do some general stuff.
Anyway, remain unfazed, guys. Things are gonna be okay.
Stay true to yourself. Remain unfazed.
Yeah.
Good.
And get out of the house a little bit.
Yeah. Get out
of the house.
Go buy a Boba Fett action figure.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Let's see. So sometimes I'll email stuff to ourselves. We'll just go in order. So let's talk about the Zion hiker rescue.
Yes, tell me about that.
So Zion National Park, Utah's sheriff's sergeant questioned circumstances that do not add up. So essentially what happened is this woman went missing in Zion National Park, and she was gone for 10-something days, and they found her, and she was totally fine. But all this stuff is saying, here, I'll read you some of the article. It says that her story doesn't add up. She was a California woman. I'll just read it to you. Sergeant Darrell Cashin from Washington County Sheriff's Search and Rescue said his team was enlisted to help rangers search for a 38-year-old woman from Los Angeles who went missing around October 6th. But since she was found safe on Sunday, Cashin told local news station ABC4 he has noticed discrepancies and questions that do not add up. It was clear from the report if Cashin was present at the time of Courtier's rescue, and a spokesperson for WCSAR did not immediately respond to Fox News' request seeking comment. So here it is. Courtier, I guess her last name, was rescued safely from what National Park Service officials described as a thickly vegetated area along the Virgin River. After authorities tracked her down based on a credible tip, an NPS spokesperson said in an emailed summary earlier this week, she was able to leave on her own capability with minimal assistance, the summary stated. Anyway.
Weird.
Long story short, this is a really huge article.
It almost seems staged.
Yeah, long story short, from what I understand from the different articles I've read, she was gone for 10 days. She left her phone behind, she left her keys behind, and she didn't tell anyone where she was going. She lived by a river for 10 days, which they said if she would have drank from, she would have gotten violently ill because of all the bacteria in it. And they said it was also near a heavily trafficked path where a lot of people would have been able to see her had she been wandering for help. Then later on in the story, they said, she hit her head and got lost. And then also, now there's a GoFundMe account for her. So people are thinking she faked it for the GoFundMe account. That's what people are thinking.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's because otherwise, how would she be in that good a shape living off bacteria-infested water and no food for 10 days in a cold national park?
Well, let's go up to the mountain and beat each other up, hang out there for 3 days,
see what happens.
Come back and be like, guys, we got lost in the mountain. Please give me money.
Yeah, I need money. So, I might be butchering it. Feel free to correct me if you guys know any more to that story, because I haven't checked any updates this week. But from what I understood, it was she went up there without any supplies.
Seems very staged.
Didn't tell anyone where she went, and then lived by a river for 10 days, and nobody saw her, and magically she came out when the search crews were in the right area. Now there's a GoFundMe. Meh.
Weird.
Seems a little odd.
Weird, yeah.
Seems a little strange.
I don't like it.
Anyway, that's a weird one. Next on our list, I had Butch Vig, the famous grunge producer who produced Nevermind with Nirvana. When asked about if that album were released today, would it be successful, he said no.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree. Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, the state of music is so abysmal, and as I think I've said in the past, it really doesn't have anything to do with music anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it would. There's so much good shit that's being made these days.
It gets lost in the noise.
Yeah. Literally, yeah.
I think a reason why that album was so successful, and I'm just basically regurgitating what others have already said, but that came out at a time when grunge wasn't mainstream and things were transitioning from new wave and hair metal and 80s pop into the 90s, and they needed something new. Then there was that whole Seattle scene, and it was just a matter of time as to which one broke through first, and that happened to be Nirvana. Even though they were, Pearl Jam had released music before them, and Soundgarden had released stuff before them. Nirvana were just the at the front of the charge,
Yeah.
So they broke through, and they were accessible too because they were hard rock and grunge, but they also had like catchy pop choruses and like sensibilities to the songs, thanks to Kurt's songwriting.
Yeah.
So they were like super like digestible, and I love Nirvana. But they were one of the most accessible bands of the grunge bands.
Yeah.
And they kind of led that charge. So I think a big part of that was the time and the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Nirvana's too interesting for now.
Yeah.
There's too much. The way music is going is like the production is getting really good, right? So everything sounds amazing. Everything's very crisp, right in your ear. No white noise.
Just like that.
Right, exactly. Right.
That's the new single, Belchy McBelch.
No white noise. Everything's extremely,
Yeah.
like exactly where it needs to be sonically. But the actual writing of the music is like it takes a back seat.
Yeah.
What I noticed about Post Malone, which obviously everyone loves these days, is he'll take one phrase and just do it over and over and over again, and that's the whole song. There was one tune that was like literally like just a fragment of a major scale, and that was the whole song. Like say that's his little thing. That's the whole song. That's the whole fucking song. And that drives me insane. Yeah. But like I see how like in situations when you're in a club or you're just in a car and you're not really listening to it, it's there, but you're not listening to it. You're like, because it's something to grab a hold of because it's so repetitive and consistent. People like it being there, but it's not. It takes like 2 seconds to write that stuff, and then you just sit down and you produce it with a lot of good producers and a lot of money. But
the only good stuff I ever heard from Post Malone was when he and Travis Barker did a full-on cover of just Nirvana music, and they did a live stream where they just did like a concert set that was all Nirvana songs, and that's the only time I was ever like, oh yeah, I could like that. That's just
cool,
just because they were doing Nirvana songs. That was it. But Post Malone, aside from that, all those new guys, I'm kind of like, whatever. Yeah, take them or leave them, but I don't. I'm not a fan.
The less I'm aware of like pop music, the better I feel. I remember when I was working at that like more modern rock music school. Mm-hmm. A lot of students, the worst thing I took from that whole experience was becoming aware of all these new musicians. Like that's when I found out about Billie Eilish. Yeah. And like there's this guy named Alan Walker who's big on YouTube. They're all like just fucking garbage, and like these kids love them. And it makes me so sad.
Why do you think kids like them so much? Just because they're shoved in their face? Like this is popular.
I'm sure that's a large part of it.
They've got like a big marketing team behind them.
Yeah.
What's crazy about Billie Eilish is like, I do not like her music at all, and it's weird because she's like 18 or 19, and like they already have her doing the next James Bond theme, "No Time to Die," and it's like, who orchestrated that? It's like she's not just a SoundCloud musician. She's at that point she's like how Lorde was a few years ago, and it's funny how Lorde just kind of disappeared, and they're like, we need a new young one, and they plop them in, and it's like they're manufactured. They're manufactured totally, and what frustrates me as a music fan is seeing super, super talented people who are much better songwriters and musicians who nobody knows about. And then you have these people that are just kind of marginal at best, that are vastly overrated, that are just in the spotlight, like scooping up Grammys and writing songs for big multi-million-dollar movies, and making all these bold social statements, and being in the center of the spotlight, like melting. And then it's like you've got other people who've been grinding since 1996, and it's like they have like 2,000 views on YouTube for their songs, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
it's all about products, and none of it is deemed by anyone who knows anything about music.
Yeah,
it's all about like a new cologne or a new shirt or something, and then like pairing these people with it.
Yeah,
and then a lot of it's like pairing it with a movie or whatever. Like a lot of it just like goes with something, and then. Because these producers are all of music are all friends with producers of other things, so I think they like handpick people who they know will be sellable. Mm-hmm. Like it's not even about like making a good song anymore. It's about like having an icon that they think people will be like will like.
Someone you can put on a shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's really I
watched a video yesterday on this band from the 90s called the Presidents of the United States of America. And their big song was like Peaches, Lump, she's lump, she's in my head. And like they did the Drew Carey theme song. They did another big song, I think, for like Austin Powers or something. Like they were like super 90s.
Yeah.
And they were very talented. And they had a pretty good few years with their first 2 albums, like fairly successful. And then they kind of just lost popularity. Music changed, times changed. And I saw one of the dudes had auditioned for Weezer, didn't make it, and like the band dissolved kind of, and like the record company owned their name, so like they couldn't tour with that name for a while, and that kind of like screwed them over. And then I saw nowadays like one of the main dudes like works for Amazon, and I'm like, that's such a weird thing to me that you can be like on top of the world, like getting invited to be on SNL and stuff, and like in this successful band, like doing music for shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, 20 years later, you're like punching a time clock at Amazon. I'm like, man, like that's frustrating.
I try not to let the state of things get to me, but I remember over the summer, it's like not a joke. It's fucking hilarious, but at the time it wasn't a joke. I had a really serious existential crisis when I realized that like none of my music would ever remotely have as many plays as Rock Lobster by the B-52s.
Ooh.
Like for some reason, like I forget, I was talking to someone about that song.
Rock Lobster.
Yeah, and I just sat there and I was
That's
like, it's like for some reason all it hit me at once how insane.
Yeah.
How insane like I feel like anything I do, any song I write is never gonna come as close as like Rock Lobster is up here,
Yeah, I'm curious about the views on the music video.
And it made me feel like such shit. Like for the whole night, I wanted to die. Like
the song is so annoying.
Yeah.
Rock Lobster by the B-52s. I mean, there's so many different versions, but each one 6.3 million views, 420K, another 4 million views.
What it has on like Spotify.
And we're just bopping through it. All in a row. Here's another one, 8.3 million, same song. 5.8 million, and that's add all those up.
Yeah. And I get it's like a joke, it's like a meme of a song, but that's almost the point.
Yeah.
Like if you eat anything serious you try to create will never be as
Rock Lobster.
Yeah.
And then Family Guy, taking that.
So that shit like really. Every once in a while, like stuff like that like really hits me, and then you just gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
But music is fucked. He's like the world of popular music is just like there's nothing left that's salvage, and that's like an old song, I don't know why I thought of that one in particular. I think I was talking to someone about it, but
I think it's kind of just an annoying song.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how to see the views on it.
On Spotify, I don't know if you can, but I'm sure it's got.
It's a shit ton. Yeah. It's up there. It's up there. But I know what you mean. There's some stuff you look at, or like I guess you could argue the same thing. Like if you sorry, I gotta pause this. If you look at like a shitty movie that's like really popular, but like a movie that you don't like, and then you think like, oh man, there's a high probability that if I make a movie, not as many people are going to see it as a movie that I fucking hate.
Yeah, right.
Or like that movie Crawl. I'm sure someone watching is going to like that movie, but I didn't like the movie Crawl, and it was a good movie. And fuck you. Crawl, I thought was a piece of shit. I thought Crawl was a piece of shit. I hated it. It was with that. I didn't even know any of the cast. It was just awful. It was just an awful alligator movie. It was terrible, and it was such a piece of shit. And it's like, I know a lot of people really enjoyed that movie, and then I think, oh, what if we made like a really great comedy that we were super proud of, and like it doesn't even do half as well as Crawl.
Right?
Like, I'm like,
exactly. Yeah, it's exactly the same. Yeah.
Sorry if you like Crawl, but man, it was a piece of shit.
I don't know anything about it.
It was bad. I kind of want to show you the trailer.
Okay.
It was just so, maybe if you like
it a new movie?
It was like I think a year ago.
Okay.
I mean, my thing is if you liked it in like a B movie ironic sense, okay, I'll give you that. But I thought it was crap.
Crawl, huh?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's been out for a while. It was bad, dude.
Oh man, I love imagining watching you watch Crawl and you're just sitting there getting pissed.
Yeah, it was a piece of shit. Piece of shit. There you go.
The state of Florida has issued a Category 5 hurricane warning.
Is the sound gonna mess with us?
No, it's fine.
Residents must evacuate immediately.
The it was so bad. Like
her, yeah.
Everything looks fake in the background.
Yeah.
I'll be able to come for you.
It was so bad.
She's crawling already.
Yep. They're making it look halfway decent on the trailer, but it was so bad. The acting was really bad. That was a big part of it too.
So what's the shtick? Is
Alligators or crocodiles? I think alligators. See, the trailer makes it look almost acceptable.
looks pretty lame.
So just imagine this, but like the acting's really bad and the backgrounds look fake. They actually made an okay trailer for the crap that they were peddling.
It looks bad though. Like if I actually had to sit and watch this as a movie, I'd get bored of it very quickly.
And what's crazy, it's from Sam Raimi, who did Spidey, who we love.
I could see that. I think I told you I watched his horror movie Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah,
and it was pretty bad.
It was like that the whole time.
Jesus.
Anyway, sorry, not sorry. It's it was a bad one.
We worship the Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
They're the best.
But yeah, Drag Me to Hell was not that good.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like weird and not scary and just weird.
The only Sam Raimi movies I really like is like obviously the first Spider-Man. Like we know that movie better than anyone. Like that's like we love that movie. Spider-Man 2, great. Spider-Man 3,
not his fault though.
Not his fault. Yeah, but still they tried. And then obviously Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, cool. But aside from that, that's all I really like from Sam Raimi. You know. But
I'm excited to see he's going to do the new Doctor Strange.
That's gonna be cool.
That should be interesting.
Yeah. We'll see. I feel like they're going to throw Toby in for like 2 seconds in a cameo. Because like people really want that. People really want to see the alternate universe with him and Andrew Garfield.
So we're doing something lame, like there's like a picture of him with like you know the mayor of New York.
Yeah. like what we all
the old Spider-Man. There he is, that he's gone.
Like what we all really want is like lines of dialogue and action and like full scenes. But like what they'll do is be like, oh, that's what people want. No. Give them like 2 seconds and like because they're scared to take any kind of risk because they're crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to see an Into the Spider-Verse type thing, but like with real actors, you know.
Yeah, it would be cool to differentiate the Spider-Men.
Yes.
I think it's lame if there's like 3 of the normal red one together.
Yeah.
But it's cool if there's like one Ultimate Spider-Man, one Future Spider-Man.
Scarlet Spider.
Yeah, Scarlet Spider, 2099.
That'd be sick.
Like, yeah, if there's like different iterations together, that'd be really, really cool.
That'd be
and there's already like the Tom Holland has the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
So we could have like Andrew Garfield as like Spidey 2099, and then have Tom Holland as Iron Spider, and then have Toby come back as original because he is the original.
That would be cool.
That would be I don't know, that'd be cool.
Kind of like a little variety.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is the Noir Spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
see, Tesla changing the Cybertruck because I guess the original design was too bold and too wild for people. So
that's what made it. It was popular.
Yeah. So now they're changing it to look like a big jacked up Tundra.
Oh, this looks like a normal car now.
Yeah. So it's kind of. I hate when they do that. It's like why don't we let it be edgy?
It's too bold.
You know,
why don't they just have both models?
Exactly.
Why can't they just? Yeah, it was so weird.
And
we're gonna change it.
And you know the original because they were scared they weren't going to make money off it.
Stupid.
But my thing is, if they made it like that original one and made it available, there's going to be so many douchebags in Scottsdale that are like, I'm buying that ticket to the dunes. Like, 100%. And here's the thing: you make less of them of the original model, and you make them twice as expensive. Collectible
I remember
car.
People loved it because it was so ridiculous looking. Yeah,
I love that. So now they're just making it. I mean, look at that. You want that original? Come on.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
I watched the episode of Jay Leno's Garage.
It looks like it's from like the first GTA.
It does. Yeah, it does.
It's like a normal.
It's not fully rendered.
Yeah.
We can probably reduce the width by an inch.
Did Jay Leno like it?
Jay Leno did like it.
That's cool.
The only thing was it was like really big. Like if you look at it, it was like way bigger than you expected. Like it would have a hard time like going through like tunnels and stuff.
That's funny. Yeah. Weird.
It's like he was like, we're gonna have to reduce the size a little bit. But Jay seemed to like it, and Jay. I don't know if you guys ever watched Jay Leno's Garage, but I really like it. But he's a classic car guy, so it's like anytime it's stuff with Tesla or electric cars, or there was like that new electric Porsche. He's never too enthused because he's like a nuts and bolts, like old school gasoline motor kind of guy. Like he doesn't really care about electric cars, but he did seem impressed by like the scale of it and like the direction of things, But
it's interesting. Although I do seem to recall hearing something about like he likes weird offshoot cars. There was one.
Jay?
Yeah, there's one that I think just for fun. He probably doesn't like. He probably thinks they're interesting. I don't think he sees them as like an artistic car, like a beautiful vehicle. But
Yeah.
he had one that like ran off of corn or something like that. He has like really
Oh, I
bizarre
think I
shit.
remember that.
Yeah.
Kind of like rarities.
Yeah.
I think he has one that runs on Steam.
He likes the oddities.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steam.
I would love, and that's when you actually, I guess, can tour. You can tour Jay Leno's garage.
That's cool.
That's one. If travel permits for it, I would love to go to Jay Leno's garage with you.
That's sick.
Yeah, like next year, if that's something we could aim for next summer, I would love to go to Jay Leno's. Because I've seen some other vloggers that aren't huge. I mean, like, they're fairly successful, but, like, they were able to get in and, like, Jay was there.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like if you could, I mean, it would probably be tougher for us, but heck, even if you could go when Jay's not there and just tour it, that would be amazing.
Talking about cool garages with cool vehicles, check out the Colorado Air and Space Museum vlog.
Yeah, that was fun.
There's a life-size X-Wing and Anakin's pod racer. Coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It was
so
very cool.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
full size, too.
Yeah.
Like, we went
Of
up
course,
to
there's real, like, bombers and stuff. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's all about the X-Wing.
that was the highlight. It's like they had really cool stuff. They had
Yeah.
legit jets and helicopter from
Ooh,
Vietnam.
a 747.
Yeah, woo. But then I saw the X-Wing and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's fucking
That was
cool.
amazing. And then obviously the pod racer was just icing on the cake.
Pod racer looks
That
so
was
cool. Yeah.
that was very cool. So yeah, if you check that out, that museum was called Wings Over the Rockies in Colorado, and I posted a video last week about it. So check it out. It's on the Unfazed Review YouTube channel right here, where you're already at.
Very cool.
I don't have to tell you that. You guys know.
The Unfazed Crew.
The Unfazed Crew. I love you guys. Let's see. We got one more talking point here in the old phone. Yeah, I don't know about changing the design though. It seems like a bunch of like marketing people were like breathing down Elon's neck and was like, change the cool design.
It's like when people change their thumbnails like after 24 hours of putting a video out and try to make it more clickbaity. It's
Exactly.
Like,
Let it be.
it is what it is. Yeah.
Let it be. All right, last one for the night. Let's see. I'll let you read it. Go ahead.
Okay. Travis Scott deactivated his Instagram after receiving negative backlash over his Batman costume. What?
Let's see. You might have to scroll down more, I think.
Why would he?
Did they get rid of the picture? Oh, maybe the picture's not available anymore because he deleted it.
I'm sure.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
There it is.
wait. What's wrong with it?
He looks cool.
Travis Scott. I've seen this.
He looks like Michael Keaton's Batman.
It's like brown.
Yeah, it's like brown, and then he's obviously black.
Yeah.
But he did a good job. It looks just like Michael Keaton's outfit. It looks cool.
It does look. Poor guy.
So why did he get backlash? I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see what happened.
It's like a funny costume. but
Let's see.
It is odd because it's brown and not black. But
the rapper posted a video and photo of his brown Batman costume on Instagram and immediately went viral. Let's check the video.
he's walking out in the brown.
A really great cosplay I saw from last year was The Weeknd, dressed up as Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Oh, yeah.
Look that up. He nailed it.
It was incredible. It looked like Jack Nicholson.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really great cosplay.
I think he's just on a brown kick. He had a brown suit on in the video, and there's a brown car behind him. He's just like into the color brown right now.
It says, so here's what some asshole said. It said, Travis Scott is drowning in millions of dollars right now, and he couldn't get a good Batman costume.
Be nice to Travis Scott.
I thought it looked good. It says, Travis Scott trying to look like Batman this Halloween, but he built more like a flea.
What?
Okay, here's my thing. If you guys want to look it up, he did a pretty good job on the costume. I mean, it's not perfect, but, it's okay. And all these people are basically just poking fun at him, and that's enough to derail you and make you turn off your Instagram. You're in the spotlight, Travis Scott. You got to have a little thicker skin.
What's hilarious is that he just had his fucking McDonald's burger that we reviewed.
Yeah.
I would think that would be the thing that people would make fun of him for.
Yeah.
Not a costume
My
for
thing
Halloween.
is making fun of you for having a bad Batman costume. It wasn't even that bad, first of all. And second
Better than any costume ever.
of all, fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
can you imagine if every single bad thing that was said to a celebrity, if they shut off their Instagram?
Yeah.
You deal with it,
yeah.
man. Like Rogan says, don't read the comments,
Yeah.
But my thing is, that wasn't even bad.
No, yeah, it's fine.
It was like like someone doesn't like your costume. Ooh.
People are just fucking stupid.
There was nothing even.
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
nothing
yeah.
even that intense about
Like,
that.
guys, I mean, there's so many. I can't speak for like Max or for Ben, but I still read virtually every single comment on every single video I put out on YouTube, and there's so many like straight up, just unbelievably stupid people.
Yeah.
Just in YouTube comments alone, there's just some real idiots on the internet. So just don't.
That's
yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. There's, same. I'll read a few here and there, and it's like I try to, especially on ours, I try to comment on the good ones. And excuse me, what's up, man? How you doing, buddy?
Hey,
Max is here, everybody.
has
But-
everyone seen Polybius?
we're doing a podcast, not a stream. We're keeping this in though.
Max your fave, everybody. Love him. Max, talk about real quick about how to deal with negative commenters on YouTube.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's not a big deal.
We were talking about Travis Scott. He deactivated his Instagram because someone didn't like his costume.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, come on.
Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like if you respond to negative comments, then like you're rewarding people who take some time out to you're rewarding people who don't support you. Whereas if you respond to positive comments, like you're like giving back to people who supported you.
Yeah.
So it's like the sort of economy of energy when you're dealing with a bunch of people who, like when you're dealing with, you can only respond to so many people, and like you have to like decide like, all right, how am I going to like do this? Like, does that make sense? Yeah. That's all I have to say. All right, goodbye.
Take it easy, buddy. See you later. So very much what he said. It's like I try to respond to the positive ones, and once when I get a negative one, it's like, okay, fuck you, dude. Like it's like there's some people too. I don't know if they're even necessarily malicious. They just want the attention. So it's like they'll go out and like trolls have been on the internet since the dawn of the internet. It's like trolls have always been there, and they're never going to go away. And there's some people that actually have fun with it. It's like there's some trolls that are actually funny, and there's other trolls that are just really sad and lonely, and they need attention, and they don't have any kind of outlet. Like most of the time, you go and click them, they don't have a good channel. It's like their profile is created to be a troll. So that's kind of an art form in itself if you have a funny troll. But sometimes there's a difference between a funny troll and just a shithead that's just mean. And those people are just fucking losers, and they're just they're there because they're hungry for attention, and they're sad, lonely people. And there's other people that are actually kind of funny that talk shit, So there's different classifications of trolls, but like you said, at the end of the day, all that matters are the people who actually like your stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, the comments, like the comments by like dumb people, don't even range from like, I'm not even necessarily talking about mean comments. I mean, there are mean comments that are totally like, not grounded in anything, just kind of like irrelevant and just being mean to be mean. But then there's also comments that are just straight up out to lunch. Like, I don't know what they're trying to say. Like, it's just like some truly like unironically insane people, like literally just insane people on the internet.
And what's kind of funny is even like if you go down to full on commenting on other people's stuff. It's funny how I can comment on a video that I'm like not even like even really serious about, or just like I'm just like, oh, this would be a good comment. I comment, and then like you go back to it later on, you get notifications, and like so many people liked it, so many people have commented on it, and it's like created this like turmoil. And you're like, I didn't intend on that. I was just commenting on a Joe Rogan video. There was one where it was like, even today I commented. I was like, because in the End of the World Part 2, Joe Rogan podcast, for the election, there was a bit where it seemed like he was being a little mean to Jamie, his assistant, and it was
always bullying Jamie.
But this one it was like, I think Joe was having some fun, like he knew what he was doing, but he was being like a little extra harsh than Jamie, it seemed like. And I just commented, I was like, prediction by the mid 2020s, Jamie will start his own podcast. And then like I went back and like people were like, no, he's too much of a a left leaning idiot and all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, Jesus Christ!
Wow,
like,
damn.
Some people, and it's not even it's not even directed at me. It's directed more at Jamie, but you open that gateway.
And also, my perception of commenters just like flipped over the years. I remember in high school, I was like, wow, these people are kind of like me. They have access to internet like regularly, so they must be like fairly well adjusted. But now I'm like, these people like they probably never see the light of day. A lot of these people are just like barely hanging on. They're probably living off of someone and have internet access in some weird peripheral
basement
way. So there's literally these people you would never see in the real world,
like Norman Bates type guys. They're just like totally maladjusted and just fucking odd.
So
there's don't even like
you can't take any of that shit. It's like it's easy to say you can't take it to heart because like we're human. When we see something like that directed to us, of course we're gonna take it to heart. Like I still do too. I mean, I whenever I see a comment that's directed at me and it's like saying negative things, I immediately get angry because that is like it's a real person that made that comment, right? And it's just like it's.
I created a whole account just to troll Emmett.
Right.
You suck, man.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
And I mean, you never think of people exchanging, like especially strangers exchanging words like that in real
Yeah.
life.
Well, they wouldn't.
Right? Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
got to have something to hide behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because they're pussies.
you just gotta remember they're either an idiot or they're insane or both. Or,
Or very insecure.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like that, I mean, fuck them, you know?
And also, if you're the one putting out content, you're already echelons ahead of them. Like, they have, like Ben said, you go to their profile, 90% of the time it's a nameless, faceless, like nothing is there.
And it's easy to criticize when you're doing nothing, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to bring people down who are trying to do something.
Yeah.
So,
and even then, I'll talk a lot of shit, like ripping on that Crawl movie. It's like, at the end of the day, they still made a movie. So I should be able to be like, it's like, I didn't like it and I thought it sucked. But guess what? They still made money.
So Travis Scott, just remember the, like, 90% of the people who made fun of your costume, they probably either had no costume, let's be honest, or they had like some shitty slapped together nothing.
Yeah, and
his costume is better than any of mine.
And guess
ever.
what?
Yeah.
They're not fucking hot bitches like you.
And
they don't have a deal with McDonald's, and they're not and they're not a rapper that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So
you're fine.
Yeah, people, celebrities at that level who take that kind of stuff to heart, it's like, get over it. Because like, you look at someone like Joe Rogan. Do you think a negative comment bothers Joe Rogan?
Yeah. And I'm sure psychologically it's intense to take that volume of just like eyes on you every day and that kind of like commentary coming at you every day.
It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, right, yeah. But, again, you got to remember these are usually just like low people who have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And are looking to tear you down because they're jealous, ultimately.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
What else? I feel like we should wrap it up on one more. I like to go a little over an hour. Want to ask each other a question or two? We haven't done the impromptu questions.
The impromptu questions.
It would be fully impromptu because I have nothing planned.
Yeah, I don't think planned either.
Yeah. How about let me try to think of one off the top of my head.
Okay, I'll think of one too.
You
guys think of questions as well as we're thinking and put them in the comments and we'll respond.
Yeah, we'll respond to the nice ones, even the mean ones.
But
we'll just tell you to go to hell on the mean ones.
That's right. Yeah.
But feel free to throw some questions our way. Let's see. Okay.
You know what's really stupid?
What?
Me and I was playing Call of Duty with Baldy yesterday, and he was trying to ask me questions. I love him too, and
he's like a genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah,
he's funny.
Yeah, he's super funny.
Yeah.
Always cracking me up.
Yeah.
He was trying to do like a would you rather.
Okay.
And he was asking like interesting ones.
Okay.
But all I could think of, because I'm still like 10 years old in my head, I was like, would you rather fuck like Jabba the Hutt or the Rancor beneath his palace?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I guess neither, but I guess Jabba more cushion for the pushes.
Yeah, okay. Good call. Yeah.
I feel like the Rancor would bite your cock off.
Yeah, he really would.
Yeah.
And then it was like a Gungan or an Ewok.
Oh, those are horrible. Those are horrible. That's like bestiality.
Yeah.
Let me. Okay. Well, let me give you a slightly more appetizing one.
Sure.
A much more appetizing one.
It's hard to get lower than that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Okay. Would you rather? Oh, I feel like I already know the answer. I know you so well.
Okay.
But,
go for it. Maybe they don't know the answer.
Okay. Would you rather fuck Slave Leia from Return of the Jedi, like as she was then, or have a three-way with the girl who played Sloane from Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Jennifer from Back to the Future, Elizabeth Shue?
Gotta do Leia.
You gotta do Leia?
So iconic, yeah.
I would say,
everyone wanted to.
Slave Leia.
Slave Leia.
I don't know, man. A three-way with Sloane
It's nice, but I don't know.
Yeah, Slave Leia.
Slave Leia, yeah.
Barely, though.
Yeah.
Barely.
It's just like, it's for some reason like I don't know, it's like a golden standard for like sexiness in a way. Yeah,
she was so beautiful. And also that was like our earliest exposure to like hot woman.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, here's another question. Aside from Slave Leia, who were the first couple like women in movies and TV that you thought were sexy and attractive?
That's a tough one. Oh, wow. Yeah, I really I didn't consider that stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
I was really...
He still doesn't.
I really just care about the X-Wings and Boba Fett.
Yeah.
But,
he's very sexually attracted to Boba.
Yeah. I like not seeing a face. I just like to get right to the dirty work.
Yeah.
But,
there you go.
Dude, I don't know. That would be a really tough one. I'd really have to think for a while.
I feel like it had to be Leia also. I mean, but like aside...
I'm sure, yeah.
But like aside from Leia.
I'm sure Leia. I think... Probably. This is not even that hot, but I remember like The Matrix because she had that tight. Like,
it was nice. Yeah,
and I was really young when we saw that, but I remember even in that I was like, ooh, it's kind of nice.
All leathery.
Yeah.
Nice.
Probably that. Yeah,
it's nice.
And then obviously there's Catwoman with Halle Berry.
Hell
It's also kind of like that leathery.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Halle Berry was always rocking. She's still rocking.
Yeah,
she's still got it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. Yeah. What about you?
I know mine.
It was serious.
Mine, aside from Slave Leia, Scully from the X-Files. I remembered like before even liking girls, thinking that she was like the most beautiful like thing I'd ever seen. Like just perfect, you know. Xena, warrior princess, and her little friend, her blonde little friend. I thought they were both hot. Like I kind of liked the little friend more than Xena. Yeah. And then I would say Linda Hamilton from the first Terminator.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I thought she was cute, and then also when I was like really young, I remember like you see her topless for like a second, and I remember being like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Those were like my early.
Those are good ones.
Always been a pervert.
Beautiful. Oh, yeah. This is a really good one actually. Hayao Miyazaki, who did like Spirited Away and all that stuff, he had a movie called Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Kind of an awkward title. Obviously, it's translated from Japanese.
Yeah.
But it was about a chick. I barely remember anything about it because I saw it when I was so young again. But it was about a chick who rode like this kind of wind pad thing. It was almost like a
live action.
Oh, it was animated.
But
even so,
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just like this like pad, and she stood on it, and she like flew around. I'm probably misremembering it, but she had like she had like a short skirt, and the wind like kicked it up. And I remember there was some like really like you saw like a little bit of her butt cheeks and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, and so like me being little, I was like, wow, it was like cartoon butt cheeks. I was like, wow,
that's amazing.
And she was like just like a normal human cute girl. Like you know, we've all seen like the fucking Ren and Stimpy ass, but that doesn't count. Because it was like
IR baboon.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember like I was watching with my mom too, and it was really weird. I was like, because I was like turned on by it, and I was supposed to be watching this like family movie with my mom.
What do I do?
Right. So
funny,
yeah. That was like nothing. Like it's so funny to remember it because it's like it was not. It's like literally it's like someone drew a little line, and I was like turned on by that.
Yeah. He still is to this day.
Yeah, that's right. Nothing gets me going like
half a cartoon butt cheek. That's so funny you throw on the Ren and Stimpy part.
Yeah.
Something about those cartoons back then, like they were like graphically gross.
I know.
It was like you look at like we talked about like Courage the Cowardly Dog, like even some early SpongeBob, like when they do like zoomed in like gross
his shiny butt.
Yeah, and then like like IR Baboon, Cow and Chicken, like they were all like these big asses and udders and like gross bellies with hairs hanging off and like. They were. I love those shows. Those shows were hilarious.
Yeah.
But what was so funny about them was how like weird they were. They were just so weird. Like they were like totally out there and kind of gross and kind of absurdist. You know, like. But they were great, man. That was a golden. It was a golden time for.
It's weird how they got away with that shit.
Yeah.
And it is weird. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable like drawing an ass and then like showing it to kids.
Yeah.
Like it's essentially what they did. Somehow they knew we'd think it was funny.
Yeah.
I mean, we thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Because it was so ridiculous.
In retrospect, it was just weird.
Yeah. It is just weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I can't remember, like in your kid's mindset. It's funny.
It is funny.
What's
odd about Ren and Stimpy was I guess they did that a little too much.
Yeah.
And it ended up they took it off Cartoon Network and they ended up giving it to Comedy Central and making it even more adult. So it's like as it progressed, it got more adult oriented because they removed it from the kids' channels.
That's weird.
And then they sold it. I think it was Comedy Central. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then they like made it where like Ren wants to like fuck chicks and stuff. And like
that's what they always wanted to do.
Yeah. But it was just more blatant,
Yeah, that's funny, dude.
Comedy Central used to be really great, man. Like when they had like Reno 911.
Yeah.
And like those shows, that was like freaking hilarious.
That was good shit. Yeah.
One thing that I think Comedy Central messes up on though is like. There's a lot of great comedians that have shows and they don't trust the comedians enough to do their thing and they cancel them too early. So it's like that's why all they have now is like reruns of like really popular shows or like Tosh.0, which they're ending soon also. Yeah. But like back with like Nick Swardson, who I think is like one of the funniest comedians and like an awesome screenwriter and actor. Like he's so funny. He had Pretend Time with Nick Swardson and that only had like I think 2 seasons or maybe like 3, but they were like really short seasons. And like that got canceled, and he's had a whole bunch of projects that like started and stopped. And it's like they just need to have more faith in the creators. It's like
They really do.
They don't. It's like you're Comedy Central. Like you have the money. Like take a gamble for another season.
Yeah.
Like I hate when they do that. Or like I remember this show I used to watch a long time ago. It was called The Listener. It was a Canadian TV show that aired. I think it was like NBC or something like that here. And Craig Olchnick was the main actor. I don't know how I remember that, but he was this EMT who was psychic. He could like run on precognition and like would go and like save the day. And it was like a cool like real world superhero show.
That was cool, yeah.
And they canceled it. And it was like,
Damn,
and it was
yeah.
like, and they like left it on a cliffhanger and everything.
They
And
put
I'm like,
plugs too soon.
and I was like, dude, let that show evolve a little bit. And who knows? Like, it's been a long time. They could have, maybe they brought it back. But as far as I know, it was only one season, and it was like, what the fuck? Like, that was such a good premise, and then they just like, you know.
Yeah, it's sad. It shows you how, again, like they just care about numbers. They don't actually care about content. That's why like A24 is really interesting because you can tell they really do care about like putting out good movies.
Yes.
They find really good people to make their movies, and then they stick with those people.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't. Whatever someone says, like this movie was done by A24. That's the only time my ears pucker up. Like,
yeah.
Any other movie company, it could be shit. It's 100% gamble. Universal, Paramount, MGM, whatever the fuck. It could
get excited.
Yeah. Like any of those other huge companies, it could be absolute shit. It could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But A24, like you always know, like it's going to be well done, whatever it is.
And even if you don't fully like it, because there's been a few that are better than others, obviously.
Yeah.
But like they're going to take chances, and it's going to be like visually pleasing.
Yeah.
It's usually going to be intense or a little weird, but like in the best kind of way.
Yeah. And again, with comedy shows, I need to mention World Peace that
Please do.
Sam Hyde did
Please
because.
do, yeah.
He's another guy who's like, he's like Mozart. Like Mozart he was an asshole. Like in his life, he was like a bad person.
Yeah.
But his music was like no one touches him.
Mm.
And Sam Hyde is like I would never want to meet him. I feel like I'd be uncomfortable and he'd probably be mean to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to interact with him in the real world. But his work is like untouchable.
It's very funny.
And what they did
it's funny.
in that first season or whatever they had on Adult Swim was unbelievable. Like it really raised the bar. They had good ratings.
That was $1 Million Extreme.
Yeah, $1 Million Extreme's World Peace. It was really good stuff, and like they obviously got heat because he is who he is.
It was like avant-garde comedy,
dude. It was so insightful. Like it was so good. Like
Yeah.
every single episode was genius.
It was funny. Yeah, it was funny.
And it got pulled because but you have to. If Adult Swim had really cared about the work that he was putting out, they never would have budged. But they were taking all this heat from like BuzzFeed and all these nerds who are like, oh, we got to pull him, we got to stay safe.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm so one of like my greatest not regrets in life, but things I wish would have went differently is the continued series of World Peace because it was so good.
Yeah.
And I remember that like it was only like 6 months that it was airing for or whatever, but I remember being really, really excited for each episode.
Yeah.
It was just always so good.
And you got to figure it was like that would have changed his life. It's
Yeah,
like he would have gotten a lot of money thrown at him.
Yeah.
It's like he would have. Imagine if he could have had like 5 seasons of that.
That kind of destroyed the three of those guys.
Yeah.
That was their big thing, and they made. I mean, again, they made a lot of great shit. But as soon as that dissolved, they dissolved as $1 Million Extreme.
Yeah.
They all kind of went their separate ways.
And I feel like he,
And,
I still subscribe to his channel, but like I feel like, maybe I don't have the notifications on, but I feel like he doesn't post that often.
No, he doesn't. He's on a lot of alternate sites now. He's on like Gumroad and stuff like that. I don't follow him anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, he doesn't do the like intensely creative and like genius stuff that he used to do. And it's kind of sad. Like he's definitely he had his heyday or whatever. But
yeah, well, maybe he'll get back to it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's just sad to see that shit. I don't know.
At the end of the day, I mean, like especially with Nick Swartz. I mean, Nick Swartz is doing good. It's like he's a successful stand-up comedian and a screenwriter, and he's buddies with Adam Sandler, and like he makes movies. Like he'll be okay. But I do think it is a bummer when they cancel things prematurely, and when they don't let the artist be the artist. It's like why would you even like hire someone initially and say make a show and not know anything about them? Look at their previous body of work. If you don't agree with something or know that it's going to trigger people, then don't put the offer on the table to begin with.
It's like if you hired like a really good chef, and then you're like make me a steak. And he made you a steak exactly how he knows how to do it. And then you put like ketchup and mustard and too much salt on it. Yeah. Like it's going to be shitty. Like he did everything he could do to give you something wonderful. Yeah. And if you put your shit on it, it's going to be shitty. Yeah. No matter how good that steak was originally, as soon as the production company puts their yellow mustard all over it, it's like it's done.
Or when you
Yeah.
give too much power to BuzzFeed or to Twitter, any fucking critic, when you give them too much power and too much clout behind their shitty little critiques, it's like that's what destroys people. It's like, don't let... There was a great quote that I actually wrote down and put on my computer from Jerry Stiller from an interview he did. And he said, you don't wait for the audience. You just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's true. You don't... You know, if the audience likes you, they'll find you when the time's right, you know? And it's like, you can't... Someone like that who was like a super great, professional, amazing actor for all those years, it's like, I'm sure he didn't let the critics get to him.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, maybe in the early days, maybe. But it's like someone like that who has such a strong sense of self, like Jerry Stiller.
Yeah.
It's like he's going to do what he does best, and that's the way he does it, you know?
Yeah.
Just like all those people. I mean, Brando, it's like anyone like that. Sam Rockwell, it's like anybody who's a master. Dennis Hopper, I think Dennis Hopper's underrated. Dennis Hopper was a master, dude. And like people like that, they have such a strong sense of self. You just let them do their thing, dude.
Yeah.
And then especially for comedians, man, like all these too many cooks in the kitchen on comedy shows. It's like no. Let them do what they do best.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Anyway, guys, in conclusion, remain unfazed. Don't let the craziness of the world right now get you down.
That's right.
Things will be okay, one way or another. You're responsible for your own actions and feelings. Thanks for watching, guys, and remain unfazed.
We'll see you around.
Goodbye.